on Tuesdays. Dang, now I can finally hear myself. What about that?
There it is.
Did I have audio before that?
Yes, through the laugh.
Oh, we had audio before that. I don't know. Did you all I've been seeing this video over and over for the last few weeks, and it's, this whole podcast is about that people are still good. Like, I still believe that people are still good. People are still incredible. I still believe in the good in the world. I still believe in good in people, right? So that's what this podcast is about. So I want to give you an example. I've been watching this. I know it came out a few weeks ago. I finally followed up on the story and dug deep into it in the rabbit hole. But did you all see this skier that helped this snowboarder out on the side of this mountain? I don't know if you haven't watched it, you should go watch it. And Knives, maybe we could find the story and we could put it in the comments down below or down in the whatever you put it on YouTube. But this skier was skiing down this hill in the back country, you could tell, and seeing this snowboard sticking out of the snow. And I gotta tell you, it gave me some cold chills. This skier comes up and he didn't pass it up. He went over and looked at the skier and seen that it was still attached to somebody's legs, and it wasn't just a board sitting there, which I guess it probably wouldn't be. I've skied some, but never in the backcountry like that. But this skier, he just stops what he's doing out of nowhere for this somebody he doesn't even know, and he just starts digging. He's digging with all of his might, and literally saves this guy. I mean, this guy would have undoubtedly died right there upside down in this snow. He would have suffocated. He was unable to get out. He had gone in some powder and saved this guy. And it's such an incredible story. And it's just stories like that that still give me hope in people and in the love for our fellow citizen and our fellow American, our fellow human being, right? It's just people just trying to do what they can to help each other out. So what an incredible thing. Knives, got any questions?
How do you own your dash?
How do I own my dash? For me, how do I own my dash is the first question. So Own the Dash is a brand that I have. I started probably how long ago did I start? You were with me, I think, when I started
16,
Own the Dash.
17.
Yeah, probably 5-6 years ago. And Own the Dash was something that was incredible to me. It comes from Linda Ellis. She wrote this poem about the dash and how, she stood at the funeral of a friend, which all of us, we're all dying. I don't know if that's a secret to anybody, but we're all going to die someday. None of us are getting out of this thing alive. And she talked about how that we all go to this funeral, and the two dates on your tombstone, your last living legacy, it was the day you were born, the day you died. But what really matters is that dash in between. And it really made an impact on me that we all are too busy worrying about the answers of how we're going to die, when we're going to die, what's going to kill us or whatever else, instead of just making the most out of that dash. We can't control how long it is. We can't control how short it is, but what we can control is what it looks like. And that's what we do every day. So for me, I believe that there's two pieces to how I own my dash. I wake up every day and I try to do something to make myself better. And then I try to do something to make the world that I'm part of a little bit better, right? And then you can take that down and break it into micro decisions of every room that you leave, try to leave it a little bit better. Every person that you leave, try to leave them a little bit better. And what does that mean? It doesn't have to be these huge, significant acts. It doesn't have to be that, you're fixing everybody's problems. But it could be simply hey, man, I really like those shoes, or hey, I hope you have a great day, or I appreciate you. Hey, it was great seeing you. All these little things, they could change where somebody's at that moment, right? Or pushing up the last chair in the conference room, or bringing or writing a thank you note to someone just once a week. Try that, right? All these little things. So for me, I break it down to the simple side of it of I try to do something every single day to make myself better. And then I try to do something every single day to make the people around me and the world that I'm part of a little bit better. And I try to do that every day. So that's how I own it. I try to just wake up and I believe in good, and I try to choose good and that aspect of it. Do I fail? I absolutely fail. I fail all the time. Failure is something that is it's daily. it's daily, but it's kind of like a baseball game, right? Like every day that you wake up is like a baseball game, and every decision that's thrown at you, it's another pitch coming down. You know, you don't strike out based off one pitch, right? You don't lose the game off of one out, right? Like you don't, you know, all these things. It's a combination of things that decide if you win or lose, and so that's kind of how I'm owning it. What else, Nice? Got any call-ins? Got anybody calling in? Nobody calling in yet?
You want to call someone?
Well, who are we gonna call?
Call Ian Buckley.
Let's call Ian. So we're calling Ian Buckley right now. He had submitted his phone number to us, and we're gonna call him up and see what's up. This is my favorite part. Well, we tried to call him. He didn't answer. Another question. Let's go over here to Instagram. What we got over here on Instagram? No questions over here on Instagram? We got Instagram going. We got YouTube going. What's another question, Knives?
What's the most memorable place you visited during your military service, and what made it stand out to you?
What's the most memorable place that I visited during my military experience, and what made that stand out to me? That's a great question. You know, I got to go to quite a few places. I mean, majority of it was being deployed. I mean, honestly, like the places I got to go, you know, along the Marine Corps after I got out were more memorable than probably anything I did in. But I would say that, I mean, obviously Iraq and Afghanistan were pretty memorable, right? But I mean, I don't know. I mean, that's a great question. I can't really. I don't really know. I mean, I got to go to a lot of cool places. I was stationed in Hawaii, which was, you know, an incredible experience in itself of being able to, you know, I mean, especially a small town kid from Kentucky, to be able to live in a place like Hawaii, and to be able to go and you know, I was also over in Okinawa, Japan for a little bit. You know, got to go to California a few times. You know, so it's just always, you know, a cool place to do and be able to skip around. Who we calling now?
We're calling Don from Instagram.
Don from Instagram. What else? We got any more questions over here? What's one thing you see? All right, we're calling Don. I'll answer that one in a minute, Michael.
Hello.
Don, how are you? It's Dakota with Your Human Podcast.
Well, hey, Dakota. How are you?
I'm doing good. How are you?
We are doing awesome. I am here with my husband, who is a medically retired Marine that
Awesome.
has your Own the Dash tattoo and lives that lifestyle because of you and what everything that you had to say about that.
Tell him Semper Fi.
Yeah, it's great to talk to you, but I did want to ask you a question.
Yeah.
I saw the new report from the Marine Corps Times on the Commandant initiative that's going on. Where do you see the future of the Marine Corps, and how do we get back to our raw first to fight Marines?
Yeah, you know, so I gotta tell you, like there's hope. I go around and I always get worried when I'm not close to the Marine Corps, right? I always get worried whenever I'm not actually there. So like I was just on Marine Corps Air Station, Cherry Point, and then I was also at Camp Lejeune, and I spoke to 20 different groups probably a couple weeks ago, right? And I gotta tell you, I think we're fine. I think that we're having to transition a lot, and here's my it's a complex aspect of it, but I do think that probably one of the biggest things that we've got to be careful of, I say we as in myself, of critiquing the needs of the Marine Corps today based off of what was presented and what was needed when I was in. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
you know,
absolutely.
you know, I always look at like, Yeah, like I know my time in the Marine Corps was based off of fighting 2 wars and being, deployed to the sandbox, right? To fighting, not having to worry about any amphibious operations, not having to worry about being lethal, quick, not having to worry about being small because, like, I was going over to a sandbox that I didn't have to come off of a ship. I didn't have to be quick. I didn't have to, it was more of a policing movement. So what I say is, and I always challenge back on, when we start getting down this rabbit hole of, yes, the Marine Corps and the way and the trajectory it's going today would not have worked in the environment that I was presented in the wars that I was faced at situation I was having to fight. But I have to hope and pray that people a lot smarter than me are helping move things to the direction of the enemies that are going to be, right? And so when are you there? So sorry. So when I watch all this, and I see some of the decisions that are being made, I believe that these kids that are in the Marine Corps today, are they as tough as us? I don't know, but I'll tell you this, the generation when I came in, and you could, I would love for you to ask, while we're on the phone, ask your husband, but the generation yes, sir. What's your name? Philip. So do you remember when we got in, like how they were telling us that we weren't going to win anything and that we were a weaker generation, that we, and so like, I hope and pray that's the case with this generation, right? Like I hope and pray that like we're all worried about it just because our standards are that high and we want them to be better. I believe that kids today are a lot smarter than Marines have ever been. I think the Marines that are going in today are by far, the things that they are having to be presented with as far as being able to decision make and process information is astronomically higher than what we were, right? Like everything that they're doing is technology. And so when I look at like small things like, oh gosh, like we're, the Marine Corps' backing out on tanks or getting rid of tanks. To me, it's like, well, like I understand that we brought tanks in and it worked in the desert, but first off, it never worked in Afghanistan for me up north in the mountains, right? And coming off of ships and doing what we're supposed to do amphibious, tanks kind of like, they kind of defeat, they're bulky, they kind of defeat that purpose of what we need to do, right? The Army, let the Army have it. So I get that like we all have an emotional attachment to some of these things that are being changed, like especially me, you talk about the snipers, like that's one piece of it. Yeah. But, I look at it and I go, I hope and pray that as long as our core values of honor, courage, and commitment and these values of, I think that we got to be focused on that instead of like the other minute pieces. It's not minute, but like, I don't think that we, I think that I truly trust and hope that we're going in the right direction. Does that make sense?
It does, and I agree 100% that the honor, courage, and commitment needs to be that backbone of the Marine Corps needs to remain the backbone no matter how much we change as a fighting force. Just that semper fidelis, esprit de corps.
Yeah, it's pretty core, right? And it's, ultimately coming down to it, no matter what we get into or no matter what enemy we fight, it's going to come down to the limitations of whatever gear or whatever unit you're part of. The limitations are going to come down to the belief in something bigger in the cause that you're fighting for, right? Like that's what's going to come down to it. And I just hope that we're able to push that towards, we're able to remind these young men and women. I honestly, I think the biggest threat to the military is not what decisions are being going on in it, but it's the fact that that a lot of service members are making it look like that the military is not a good place to go anymore, right? Like the threat is going to be is when people don't want to join, when we are showing that, hey, you go serve your country, it's an honorable thing, but you come home as a broken toy. Nobody wants to do that, right? Nobody wants to take their nice car and go run it through a demolition derby. And so, right. Yeah. And that's what we're selling is.
Yeah, and I feel like so much now with kids or with teenagers and up and coming future leaders of the Marine Corps, are they, do they even like this country anymore? Because you see so much bad stuff, and the kids don't even like this country. So it's like, why do they serve? But then I always try to instill in the young men and women that we meet, that there is something to be said about serving your country and the people in this country, that it's still the greatest country in the world, and it has its ups and downs, but there's something to be said about serving your country.
Yeah, no, I mean, and especially serving the greatest country on the face of the planet, right? And you know, and everybody who tries to question that, that's their problem.
Yeah.
You know, but
they haven't been out of this country.
Well, exactly, right? Like, where's their perspective? And I think that you know what we can do as people who have served, as people who have skin in the game, you know, what we can do is number one, be examples of why you should serve, right? You know, talk about how much we love this country and we love the greater good, and yeah, do we have our issues? We 100% do. Like, but every country does, every family does, every marriage does, even the best marriages, the best businesses, everything that even is the best on the face of the planet has its own issues somewhere, right? And it's about choosing that to focus on the good and the reminder that for every bad thing, there's 10 great things about it. And you know, we can't, you know, the thing is that we've got to come out and we've got to change the narrative of what it's about. Yeah, you know what? It's kind of like this. Where the problem comes in with the military is when people are like, oh, you know, we're getting screwed by the government, or you know, we were fighting for this. Like first off, like I didn't go when I got to Iraq and Afghanistan. Like neither one of those was I fighting for the protection of America that I thought I had joined to fight for. But what I quickly realized though is I could fight for good there though. You know, and as an American, like where there was an American flag, I'll speak on my you know, where I was at, where there was an American flag, the world was a better place. You know, where there was an American standing on the globe in Afghanistan, like that part of the world was safer. There was hope there. There was an example that, hey, you know, you could accomplish this, that you could, you know, have a free country, right? Like that you could, you know, try to help make this place a better place because we were bringing resources and assets and hoping to do that. And so like, you know, to me, it's about finding a bigger cause within the cause sometimes, and knowing what your cause is and your piece and your place is of that in order to make the world a better place. And so I felt like I always was able to be part of that as a Marine. You know, whether I was passing out soccer balls or whether I was, taking out an enemy combatant, like I felt like I was still able to accomplish what I had set out to do, and that was make the world a little bit better place where I was standing at, right, with the resources that I had.
Yeah. Philip was in from 95. He went to OCS, and then he was medically retired in 18. So we saw those 23 years of, you know, a lot of different changes within the Marine Corps. And,
Yeah.
you know, he retires and coaches football and track. And I feel like Marines can do that. They can give back to the community just like they gave to the Marine Corps. And I hope that the future of the Marines is still going to be the best fighting force.
It's going to be all right. It's going to be all right, right? I mean, you know, could you, I mean, you asked, you know, your husband, he's seen it. He's seen the great example, right? I mean, everybody before 9/11, you know, I mean, it wasn't like, I mean, you know, it wasn't like they were in a wartime, right? You know, it wasn't like, you know, I mean, they were still, you know, training with some of the Vietnam. I mean, we were still using Vietnam tactics before I went over to Iraq, right? And so, you know what I mean? It really doesn't come down to necessarily, yeah, I mean, look, the skills and the assets and knowing your gear, but like, you know, war is about being creative. You know, once you get on the ground, it's about being creative and using the assets and the resources that you have in order to outnumber, outbeat, you know, out-strategize the person you're against, right? And then believing in your cause more than them. Like, you know, so my hope, again, this is based off nothing, but I hope and believe that, you know, as long as we still have men and women raising their right hands to serve their country and to go put the nation's cloth on, that America's still going to be okay.
Yeah, I hope so. And we appreciate you being a voice for a good number of us that don't have the platform that you do. So we appreciate all that you say and all that you do and all that you fight for. And
Well, I appreciate that. I don't always get it right, but I try to get it right. You know, my intentions are to get it right.
And you admit that you don't, and you
Yeah.
admit that you're a piece of shit every now and then.
I do.
And you know what?
We're all pieces of
We
shit.
are.
And you know what? It takes a lot for someone to
Yeah.
say that.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. But we're all just trying to get a little bit better. Well, listen, I appreciate you both giving me your time and letting me call you. And I really appreciate both of you all and what you all are continuing to do.
Oh, well, thank you. And take
God-
care of your kangaroos.
God bless y'all. Yeah, thank you. Semper Fi. Hurrah. Gosh, what awesome people. You know what I mean? Like that is what this podcast is about. This podcast is about, you know, just incredible people like that, you know, just going out and still coaching and inspiring and putting a little bit back into the community of what they can, you know, impacting what they can, coaching, you know, going out in their community and coaching and being able to touch and influence and inject the same love and passion into our communities, right? I see we got another call.
It's called Kevin.
It's called Kevin. He's called a few times. Gosh, what? I mean, how do you not feel better talking to those people?
Hello?
Kevin, what's going on? It's Dakota with the Your Human podcast.
Oh, hey, how's it going? Would you mind that being the last time you used my name? Would that be all right?
Yeah.
Hey, so I really look up to you a lot because I feel like we've had similar experiences, and I have like times like where sorry about the background noise. I'm at a construction site.
That's all good, man.
Yeah. I have times where I feel like I should have died with my brothers. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
And I know they're stupid and they're silly and all that. And I've been utilizing resources. I'm into EMDR. I'm using flash therapy. I'm calling 988. You know, dialing 1, all that. And I'm trying to get better. It's just like I can't get the thoughts out of my head, and I was wondering if like you ever had those thoughts.
Yeah, man.
And if you did, like how you got over them. I'm sorry.
Let me tell you how I got over them. Look, man. First off, I want to tell you I love you. Like, listen, I'm glad you called in. Man, this is normal, right? Like we all miss our friends. Lieutenant Johnson, Gunny Kennefick, Doc Layton, Gunny Johnson, all of them. You know, I think about those guys every single day, and especially when I'm looking at my little girls. You know, and
I'm not even allowed to say their names out loud, man. I'll violate the NDA.
Well, but hey, it's okay. You know, it's okay. And here's what I'll tell you is you shouldn't have died. And I'm glad you didn't. You're here for a reason. You're here to go ahead and carry on their legacies. You're here to go out and to continue to take what they gave and you to continue carry that ball and to go out and remind people of the good that's in the world. That's what it's about. You know, we try to, you know, if you try to chase the question that always got me to the thoughts that you're talking about was the why question. The why, right? That's what you're trying to look for, the why question. And it's not the why, it's the how. It's the how do I use this in order to go and try to continue making the world a better place with the resources that I have? How do I keep impacting the people around me? How do I make sure that their legacy is remembered in an amazing way, that they're remembered as the heroes that they're remembered? That you can't chase the why. There is no answer to the why. You got to chase the how. How are you going to do it? How are you going to change your life to where you can go out and be more impactful? How are you going to, what decisions are you going to make to get yourself to a better place to where you can help others, right? Like there's two things in life. You should, if you have the ability to do good, you should do good. And if you don't have the ability to do good right now, you've got to be able to get yourself to a place to where you can do good. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and I'm doing better, man. Like I quit drinking Like I'm totally clean now, and I'm trying to help people as much as I can. I'm trying to get back to like normal work. I'm getting better. It's just like I just feel like
Well, can I ask you this?
I feel like I was the biggest piece of shit in the unit. And I
Why?
don't understand why I was the only one that's.
Why? Why were you the biggest? Like, I mean, again, like that might be how you feel, but like, it's there's no chance that it's possible. And even if you were, let's say, even if you were, it doesn't mean you have to be a piece of shit today. You do the next right thing. Like, man, I've been the biggest piece of shit in the room many times. I've been the biggest piece of shit in this. I have messed up and been the worst person. Listen, we've all been the worst person in the room at some point in time. But it doesn't mean we have to keep being that. And it doesn't mean that's what defines us. Those are just moments, right? Yeah, you might have bad thoughts, but man, like, how do you change those thoughts, right? Like, okay, I got it. I have moments of weakness too. We all do. We all have these moments of weakness. We all do. But it's about how do we not let those moments of weakness become a lifetime of weakness? How do we not let these negative thoughts, these negative moments become, negative days? They become negative hours, negative days, negative weeks, negative months, years, right? Like, how do we give them the only the space that they took, but then we turn that and we use that as our fuel in order to push and be better? Does that make sense?
It makes sense, and I understand what you're saying, but it's hard to internalize it sometimes. That makes sense.
Yeah, it is. Let me tell you why it's hard to internalize. Because you got to keep doing it, right? It comes down to discipline, right? The discipline to when your emotions, like, there cannot be any emotions in logic, right? And logic is the roadmap. Logic and discipline is the roadmap to keeping you on the path to where you want to be. Yeah, you're going to have emotions. You're going to have some motivation. You're going to have negative thoughts. All those factors are the roller coaster, and they are the obstacles on the path to where you want to be at. But like, the obstacles, they're not the azimuth, right? And you gotta make sure you have that azimuth. And man, like me, like sometimes, like, I have to go down to, like, I keep a notebook, right? I keep a notebook and I write what I want to achieve the next day. And some days I got to get up, man, and I just got to get up and I just got to get started. And I feel like shit. I'm down. I'm in my head. I'm, all these factors. But man, like, I promise you, you're here for a reason. You're here for a reason. And
But I just, Michael should still be here, not me.
Well, I mean,
Still be here. He was a better person than me in every way.
Well, then in
every way he was better than me, and the fact that he's not here and I am, it tears me up all the time.
But what would Michael want? So if Michael's a better person than you, what would Michael want you to do? Like, the most thing that, like, the biggest thing you could do is to go live and honor them. What would Michael want you to do?
Oh, I actually just met his parents for the first time 2 weeks ago. I hadn't met them ever before, and I was really afraid they were gonna, like, hate me,
Yeah.
like, blame me. And they just hugged me, and they said, like, Mike was your brother, so you're kind of our son. And they just said, you're not a bad person, like, you just weren't there when it went down, and we're glad you're still here. And I was like, I just want to honor, like you said, I want to honor Michael's legacy.
Yep.
And they said, like, then, like, you need to work on getting better, and you need to work on getting over this. And I know they're right. It just was, like, a lot to take in.
But if his parents are telling you that, what he would want you to do. I'm gonna give you just a quick story on what kind of made me realize that it was me holding on to this stuff, and I was doing it for me, not for them. Is one day I went in to go grab my daughter, Sailor. She was at daycare, right? I love my kids so much. and they bring me so much joy. Like, you know, Sailor was the first thing that I think I ever felt joy again with after losing my teammates in 2009. And man, I've been looking forward to seeing her all week. And I wore those KIA bracelets on my wrist, you know, those black ones, right? And I had the names of my teammates on there. And I always felt like if I didn't have them on, like my day's going to be ruined, right? Like, you know, just if I didn't have them on, then you know, I'm not honoring them, or I'm not, you know, in some weird way, it was like handcuffs to my life. And man, I went in to go pick up my daughter. I've been looking forward to picking her up all day. And I walk in the front of the daycare, and she comes sprinting out, man. Like she's so, like it's almost like a horse out of the gate, right? The Kentucky Derby. And she comes sprinting out like, Dad, Dad, Dad. And I go down to one knee and I reached out to grab her. And when I did, those bracelets hit the corner of my eye. And instantly like it took the joy away, and I felt guilty. And man, when I thought about it, like I really like thought about it, you know, is that what our teammates would have wanted us to do? Is that honoring them? By wearing those bracelets, reminding myself to feel guilty because they're not here, reminding myself that I should have died, that, you know, I'm the only one on my team that didn't live, you know, reminding myself, like, what was that doing to honor them? Nothing.
I know.
Nothing.
I know. And then like,
and so if you truly believe, brother, this is where it comes down to. I'm going to tell you again, I love you. But if you truly believe that you're here and your job is to honor them, then you have to start doing things that honor them. And if it doesn't honor them, then you cut it out.
I'm getting better. I'm getting better at it. It's just,
that's good.
You know, for years, whenever I did something where I could have helped somebody out and it was in my means, you know what I mean? But I was just lazy about it, or was too drunk, or whatever the hell else was going on. I would look over my shoulder and I could see him, you know, just crossing his arms and like shaking his head, like, what the fuck, man?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And I fucked up a lot of shit over the years. Like I fucked up a lot of shit. Sorry, I'm personalized.
No, man. Listen, I hear you. Like I think about that too, man. The people I've hurt, the things I've said that are so stupid, the things I wish I hadn't said. I mean, I got it, right? The days that I missed out on, the people, the opportunities, the people. I mean, I think about the times that I was drunk and drinking all the time to cope with it, and all of the people that I could have met that maybe I turned off, that maybe I didn't, you know, get to know because of who I was or where I was at in that way in life. But man, like, here's what I'll tell you is you've realized it just like I did. And, you know, when you're going through life, like quit living life looking through the rearview mirror. You know, like it's like a round down range, right? Should you worry about it? No, why? You can't bring it back. Worry about the stuff you can affect, right? Like look through that windshield and use those things as guides to where you should be and how you're going to look. I'm not going to do that again, right? Like look, there's a lot of lessons to be learned in failures and being able to take accountability. And man, once you start taking accountability and you start realizing that man, all I can do is the next right thing, man, you're still going to mess up. You're still going to have bad days. We all do. Every American, every human being that walks the face of the planet struggles with the same aspects that me and you struggle with. We're no different than them. We just have a different aspect. You know, the worst day of my life is no more significant than the worst day of your life or some person walking the streets, right? But what we can do, man, is the best thing to do is to be able to not give it more fuel than what it is, not feed into it, you know, to wake up every day with a plan and to be able to honor those people who didn't make it home, man. You have a gift. You have a gift. You have a gift of knowing how fortunate we are. You have a gift of knowing how valuable life is. You have a gift that was given to you. And man, like the only way that their sacrifices go and they're not, the only way that their sacrifices are not are in vain is if guys like me and you don't go out and become an example of what people should should live like, and to be an example of their lives that they gave up?
No, everyone keeps telling me the same shit, like one way or the other.
You know
like,
why? You know why we keep telling you the same shit? Because that's the only way. And man, once you start doing it, if you ever get some momentum going, and I know you're getting better. I'm happy. I'm happy, man. I'm happy I hear your voice. Like, how cool is that? Like, I'm happy I get to talk to you today. Like, to me, it's an honor. But man, like, I'm gonna tell you straight up, like,
man, it's an honor to talk to you, honestly.
we got to do it.
Just
We got to do it. That's what we're called to do. Bro, I'm just.
You know, I just signed up and got in some weird shit. I'm not like you. I'm not as good as you.
No, man, you are. You know, let me tell you why you're better than me, because you had the balls to admit that hey, I'm not doing what I need to do, and man, I'm gonna work on it, right? You like, it took me a long time to do that, and man, I'm proud of you for doing that. And guess what? Like, you know, get out there and get after it every day.
Yeah, just like, you ever feel like, I don't know, you probably don't feel like this, and I don't want to sound like a crazy person. You ever feel like sometimes the thing you're best at was killing people?
You know, I was decent at it, right? I totally understand that. But here's what I'll tell you, man. Like, there ain't no difference to be made in killing people. I mean, I think Iraq and Afghanistan, I mean, there's nothing to it. Yeah, I mean, it's easy. It's an easy thing to do. But, I mean, do you want to do what's easy, or do you want to grow and to do what's going to make the most impact and have the most difference?
Yeah, I want to do that. I mean, I got an offer to do a contract in Ukraine. Oh, fuck, I shouldn't say that.
Yeah, I mean, you should. I mean, again, man, you got it. Like, why would you want to go back to something that has messed and taken away the joy from you?
Because I feel like when I screw up over there, it's all kind of secret and TSSCI stuff, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And nobody gets to know about how I fucked up.
Yeah, but guess
when
what, man?
I fuck up here,
that's the easy route.
Oh.
Do you want to take the easy route?
no, and like I'm good at what I do now, man. Like I'm an elevator mechanic.
Hell yeah.
I install elevators. And I'm good at it. It's just I keep fucking up, or I keep making mistakes, and then I just, every time I make a mistake, I can't handle it, you know.
Well, yeah.
And
Well, fix it. Like, then you can't handle it because you feel like it defines you.
I always fix it.
Well, then,
and I would never put anybody else in danger.
Well,
I
then,
would always shut it down before I put anybody else in danger.
well, then keep crushing it, man. Guess what? I make mistakes every day. I make mistakes every single day. That's never gonna change. I don't care where you go. I don't care if you run to war because it's easier and simpler. Like you know, that's an easier way of life. Like, I mean, look, if the easy route's what you want to do, then you know, like, yeah, there's plenty of contracts and you can keep doing that forever. But someday you're not gonna be able to do that contract. Someday you're gonna have to come home. Someday you're gonna have to face the demons that are. And man, like, to me, like, yeah, I mean, going over and fighting war is way easier than living life here and being a good dad and being a fiance and being a business owner and being all these things. Like, yeah, it's way easier. It's way simpler. Like, I don't have to worry about bills, and I don't have to worry about all this navigating these problems. But to me, man, the challenge is to get up every day and to navigate this. And I love it. Like, if you don't love the process, you ain't going to love the game.
No, so sorry. I understand what you're saying. It's just, and I'm doing like the whole thing. I'm waking up at the same time every morning, working out. I'm doing all that stuff, you know, and I'm fulfilling my obligations to everybody. It's just that.
What about your obligations to yourself? Are you fulfilling those? Are you fulfilling the obligations to yourself? Are you looking in the mirror and saying, man, I'm happy with what I see? And if you're not, then are you identifying what those are, and are you putting the time that you deserve into getting yourself where you want to be?
I just don't know what I ever did to help the world, man, when I did all that stuff.
Well,
I told myself the whole time that, you know, it was worth it. Like, dude, I used to love popping ISIS fighters. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Daesh. Like, I used to think it was so much fun, and I used to have a blast, and I was telling myself I'm making the world a better place. Like, things are getting better, you know? I didn't give a fuck. Like, I was
Yeah.
just out there doing it, you know, working. I love CQB. CQB is kind of like a hobby for me and stuff, you know? Like, I was good at it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Really good at it.
But you just said
And
you weren't making a
so-
difference. So why would you want to go waste your life?
What the fuck happened, you know? And I just
Yeah.
feel like I wasted years and years and years of my life. I ruined the relationship with my girlfriend because I was, you know, not there for her. And, you know, when she cheated on me, I can't even blame her because I wasn't around, you know?
Yeah, so let me ask you
I
this.
don't
So
even-
you know all these factors. Like you know all these factors, right? You just said that you're not you didn't make a difference, didn't change the world with what you were doing. You just said that it messed up, you wasted a shit ton of your life. You just said it messed up with a relationship with somebody that you cared about. So then why would you want to even consider going to do something in Ukraine, right? To do the same shit again that's always going to be there, instead of staying at home and like figuring out that how to put some effort into you and some time into you, and to find a way to make the world that we're part of a better place, and to be able to have an opportunity to give somebody the whole you and give them the time that they deserve in a relationship with you, and for you to be able to feel that love back. And I mean, like, you see what I'm saying? Like you're just, you know, you're trying to go back to most people, and this is what it sounds like. Most people are willing to compromise where they wish they were for what they know and what's comfortable to them.
I think because I'm inherently a lazy and cowardly person.
Well, then fix it. Then fix it. If you know that, then you can fix that. Like, you can fix that. That's on you. You can fix it, and you should, and you're worth it. You should do it. Get around people who aren't. Surround yourself with people who are out there getting after it, right? People who you're like, man, this is awesome, right? Like, build that community. Like, take pride in that. Like, change what you don't like about yourself.
I'm trying, man. I'm trying really hard. I really am. I'm trying as hard as I can.
Here's what I'll tell you is I guarantee you that if you'll put your time and effort into that, guarantee you in a month, you'll be a little bit happier with who you are than you were today. Do you believe
Yeah.
that?
I want to, you know?
Well, did you believe, you know, when you started learning how to, you know, when you started learning how to shoot a gun and you started learning how to do tactical stuff, you know, you had to trust somebody who'd already gone there and who was teaching you that it would work, right?
No, my dad kind of made me do that whether I wanted to or not.
Yeah, but I mean,
I
you
was actually really scared of guns.
but you
Didn't
trusted,
then.
but you trusted that he knew what he was doing, right? Like, you trusted that what he told you was correct, right? Like, you trusted him, and then you applied it, and you practiced it, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't remember really. Well, I kind of remember the first time I shot a gun.
Well, so here's my
but-
point. Here's my point to it.
Yeah.
Is I know what I'm telling you works. I know, like, I've lost my whole team. Like, I have struggled, and I like to no end. I know that what I'm telling you works, and you're worth it. You have to believe that. You have to trust that getting around people who love you, who care about you, but love you so much that they're not gonna they're gonna tell you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear. People who are gonna be there to support you, and finding that ecosystem and finding that is going to pay tenfold.
Right on. Well, thanks, brother.
Hey, I
don't think
appreciate you,
I'm gonna
man.
put a cap on it today.
No, hey, listen, you're not. Hey, I'm still trying to put a cap on it, but I'll tell you this. All I ask is that you trust me enough that you leave this conversation a little bit better than whenever I called you. And knowing that if you don't care, like if you don't think anybody else cares about you, know that I care about you.
Yeah, man, and I don't want to sound arrogant or anything, but I relate a lot to your experience, and if there's ever a chance we could talk off the record about that, it would be cool, because I don't know about many other people who can kind of get that, you know.
Yeah, man.
If that's possible, obviously, you know, you're a busy guy, but
Yeah, we'll connect sometime. I appreciate you, man. I hope you have a good day at work.
yeah, I'm fucking this up. I gotta fix this. Sorry, I've been on the phone for too long.
Oh, you got it, man. All right. Well, have a good day. Thanks for the call in.
Yeah, man.
See you, man. Bye. Man, what an awesome guy, you know? What an awesome guy. I feel bad for the guy. I get it. I've been there. We got any more? Where we at, Nice? We got anybody else called in?
Well, we can call. No one's called. We got numbers.
Who wanted us to call? We'll call one more, and then where we at on time?
We're good. We're at 45.
All right, you want to call one more or what?
Yeah, let's call Jess.
Let's call Jess. We're calling. Who we calling? Jess?
Yes.
Hell yeah! What a good guy, you know. We're calling Jess now. Let's see what Jess has to say.
This is Jessica. Please leave a message.
Dang, Jess.
At the tone, please record your message. When you've finished recording, you may hang up or press 1 for more options.
Hey, Jessica, it's Dakota Meyer with the You're Human podcast. Hate that I missed you. We wish we could have talked. Maybe next time. Hope you have a great day. Thanks, Nice. We got one more.
Yeah, we got.
We're gonna have one more. Let's see. What we got, Nice?
We're gonna call Christopher.
You just never know what you're gonna get on these calls. You know what we gotta do? So everybody on Instagram, they are talking about that they can't hear the questions. So we're gonna have to get them to go over to. We're gonna have to push them to go over to. Who we calling?
B. Christopher.
Who?
B. Christopherson. From Instagram.
Hell yeah. Man.
Your call
They
is
give us their number, but they don't answer. All right, one more question. You got a good question? I want to leave it on something positive. Let's see. I'm going to scroll down here. I got a bunch of questions on Instagram. What else?
I got a question. Do you have a question?
Yeah, send it.
How do you maintain mental resilience in high stress situations?
How do you maintain mental resilience in high stress situations? Look, I'm a true believer that, in high stress situations, you're always going to fall back to your baseline of where you are, right? So like the way that I try to prepare for high stress situations is number one, I try to put myself in high stress situations in controlled environments. Like I do it through working out. Like the harder I can push myself in working out, the more I feel like the darker I can get in working out, the more I feel like I'm putting myself in those positions to be able to think, to be able to see what I feel like there, right? So I just think that like mastering the basics is something that, and having security in knowing the basics really well at whatever it is that you're trying to be good at is a factor that always gives me confidence that I'll be okay in these high stress situations. Like I look at anything that I've ever been in, whether the most high stressful days of my life, I've always reverted back to just the basics, right? Like I've always reverted back to like the simplest, like trying to simplify trying to find simple solutions inside of a complex environment, right? And that's always been the way that my brain has always worked. And it's always paid off for me so far. So that's how I always do it. Look, I just want to thank you all so much. Just remember that every Tuesday we do a call-in show at noon. It's the realest call-in show that there is. As you can see, it's the realest, rawest that there is. Like we call in. We got somebody calling. Or no, don't answer that.
Don't answer.
You can answer. Hello?
Hello, is this Dakota?
It is. Who is this?
Oh, no, I just was watching your live, brother, and said call in.
You got any questions?
Yeah, how? Well, I just want to say thank you, man.
Dang, you hung up on me. Okay, so anyways, make sure every Tuesday, make sure to tune in and give us a call. And, any question you got, nothing's off the table. Ask what you got, and, we really appreciate it. Look, I hope you all have a great week. Go out and keep owning it. Make sure to subscribe to us on YouTube. You got any suggestions? Look, all this is a new call-in show. It's a new idea, new concept. Me and I was trying to figure it out. You got any suggestions? We would love to hear them down below. If you got any questions for next week, make sure to submit them down below. We'll get to them as soon as we can. Look, life's pretty simple. Life's going to be hard, but it doesn't mean that it has to be complex. Life's going to be tough no matter which direction that you choose, but make sure you choose the direction that you want to go. I believe in, waking up and just trying to be 1% better every single day. Now, is that achievable? Sometimes it's not. Sometimes you're going to achieve to be 2%. But look, just set a goal and a standard of 1% better every day and do something to help your fellow citizen. Look at the people around you. Let them know that you love them. Let them know that you appreciate them. And, just know that the world is still good, right? I mean, the number one question that I always ask people in most of my speeches and in most of the moments that I get to sit down with people is, and I still have it on my board right now, is, the question comes down to this, is do you believe that most people's intentions are good? Do you believe that most people want to be good? I do. And that's what this podcast is about showing the world that there's still great people out there and that people still care about each other. So I hope you all have a great week, and I appreciate you all coming to the show, and keep owning it.